Hello and welcome to Greeting Card Emergency. I'm your host, David Ellis Dickerson, author of the book House of Cards. I'm doing something a little crazy here. I've got no cards. I just wanted to do a sort of video essay about Festivus. Festivus could be the best holiday ever. But first I have to give a little explanation. Festivus. It was created by a comedy writer on an episode of Seinfeld, and there are only two things you associate with Festivus, really. Aside from the aluminum pole, which is the only decoration, the only other two things you use to celebrate it are the airing of grievances, complaining about people around you in the room, and the feats of strength, which was, in the episode, wrestling the patriarch of the family. Here's the interesting thing. Festivus has become popular, people actually celebrate it, but no one actually does either of those two things the way they were done on the show. And it makes sense, because complaining about people in the room is terrifying. No one wants to go to the party where that will go on, and ditto for being challenged to feats of strength. It's funny on TV when someone else is doing it, but it's not something you would ever want to participate in. And so people who have adopted Festivus have changed this, and I think that's a step in the right direction. And I think there's a way of reorienting Festivus so that it stays on the same trajectory but actually achieves its potential as a holiday that's good for people. First, if you look at the two aspects of Festivus, the complaining and the fighting with family members, it's clearly designed to make fun of everything that's annoying about Christmas. The getting together with family members who don't get along, who complain, who wrangle in various ways. So I think this insight is worth preserving. But I think it's also interesting that every time I've been to a Festivus party, and I've been to a couple, people don't complain about other people in the room during the airing of grievances. They write grievances down and post them on a board so that everyone just kind of creatively comes up with grievances that are very funny, usually, throughout the evening, and it's entertaining rather than threatening to anyone in the room. It creates a community of people who are complaining about all the things that go wrong during the year. And you and I understand this, and we're going to share it on this board that we have. So it's a form of community that is grounded in world-weary honesty, and there are no holidays that celebrate that, even though world-weary honesty is the best thing ever. So let's make that official. You air grievances on a public board for everyone in the room to share and laugh at. Second, you change the feats of strength. Feats of strength are ridiculous. And what really reflects the season would be feats of endurance. Right? And it seems to me nothing is more perfect as a feat of endurance than the game of Monopoly. I think everyone needs to play Monopoly. Why? It's an awful game. It lasts forever. There's no strategy. You just roll and roll and move and roll and move until everyone around you has been battered slowly into dissolution. And so it's a perfect criticism of capitalism. Everyone has a copy already lying around. Everyone can play it. And as I said, it's mindless. You can play it drunk and still win because there's no strategy really. You get what the dice tell you because that is life. So now we have an idea about what Festivus teaches us. A celebration of the endurance of craziness in the world. And you survive by using your humor and your patience and sharing this with friends. Since Festivus seems to celebrate things that are slightly worse than what you would expect and that you already have lying around, I think this should be reflected in the food and the music and all of that. You shouldn't actually have to cook on Festivus. The ideal food for Festivus would be cold pizza, and the ideal drink would be O'Doul's. Because it's like beer, but not quite, it lacks that alcoholic kick. And in fact, I think you should be encouraged to spike the O'Doul's. That way, it's not quite good, and there's a little bit of suffering involved, but you've got friends around, so it's okay. And it's this kind of shared joy in absurd suffering, and that's what you want to celebrate. Also, I like the idea of the aluminum pole, but another great ornament that would be suitable for Festivus, I think, would be maybe a grapefruit-sized styrofoam ball that isn't displayed anywhere. It's just set on the ground where it can get underfoot. And if you don't find a styrofoam ball, wadded up wrapping paper would do exactly the same thing. Wrapping paper, no presents, just empty wrapping paper that gets in the way and that you have to clean up later. Perfect satire on the season. The ideal music for Festivus is medleys. Medleys, or if you can hook up an iPod so that it will only play the least listened to tunes, that would also be perfect, it seems to me, right? Because they're already lying around, but they aren't the best. That's what you want. Another thing, I think the official Festivus greeting ought to be something like Happy Whatever, because Happy Whatever is a great sentiment for getting through life and getting through absurdity. Be happy, whatever. It's non-committal, you know, and it's on the side of happiness, but not on the side of a lot of absurd happiness. Just, you know, do your best. I love that. And if you follow any of this advice and do your own Festivus thing, I'd love to hear about it. Send your stories and pictures to greetingcardemergency@gmail.com. And in the meantime, even if you don't celebrate Festivus, I hope this has made your day slightly more pleasant. Happy whatever.